So, good afternoon. It's very nice to meet you. My name is Leila Boisel, and I am an entrepreneur. I'm a girl, as you can see, and I am also an educationalist. By career, I'm a professional educationalist. I look at curriculum and curriculum design and curriculum mapping and curriculum evaluation and that sort of stuff. As an entrepreneur, I work in both health and wellness, developing curriculum for health and wellness professionals, and also in converting teaching and learning and assessment into online modalities. My entrepreneurial, what are the highlights of my entrepreneurial journey as a woman? Um, I think one of the you can speak about the things that you just win, starting your business, which is very very hard, and actually sticking to it and continuing in it. But I think one of the biggest things as an entrepreneur is maintaining my womanhood and my femininity, because everybody exercises femininity and their womanhood in different ways. And I'm a girly girl. I like dresses and I like makeup and I like lipstick and so on. And part of being an entrepreneur is that you kind of feel sometimes like you need to lose that in order to be successful, because success in our world tends to be, it has very male connotations, especially in a career orient, when success is thought of in a career oriented way, or the ways of entrepreneurship. You kind of think of all of these masculine traits, that you've got to be hard and that you aggressive. All these things tend to be associated with masculine traits, but they're not necessarily masculine when you think about it. Anybody can exercise these things. Being an entrepreneur then is, as a woman, if we raise our voices, then we're considered a certain way. If we when we're negotiating, you've got to negotiate with a certain tone. Otherwise you're not taken seriously. You're spoken over, so you've got to learn how to not interrupt but still get your point across, because when then you interrupt, they think that you're not listening, and then you lose flow in the negotiation process. So I think one of my biggest successes is, how do I maintain, and how have I maintained my femininity, and how have I remained true to being who I am? Because you've got to figure out who you are as a girl and what womanhood looks like to you, and how do you maintain that, and how do you be true to that, even as you go out there and you break ground and you say to somebody, listen, this is what is going to be happening today. Without screaming. For me, it is, without screaming or using mean words or without belittling people. So that I think is actually the biggest success for me as an entrepreneur. What biases in the industry have I overcome? Um, I don't think it's necessarily to do with. I think maybe it's not always about being a woman. Sometimes I think there's a lot of ageism in the industry. Um, it could be about being a woman as well, because when you are a younger woman working with an older man who's your boss, there are just certain ways, certain modes of interaction, or not necessarily your boss or somebody that you're trying to negotiate a position with. There's certain ways of interaction that are expected of you, that may not necessarily be in keeping with your personality, that you're expected to be a little bit mute and a little bit agreeable. um, and I think one part of being the wisdom of being an entrepreneur is knowing how to, well, negotiate, and learning how to interact with different kinds of people in order to bear influence, so that you can be successful in your cause. So I think definitely that the kinds of things that you face, it's different according to whom with whom you are interacting. And I think that is the biggest one that I have faced. Sometimes I have also wondered about being a black woman as well. Um, um, Internationally, I have, like I've always wondered sometimes, like when I'm giving classes, if I'm giving, like, I teach yoga as well in my health and wellness, and there are not a lot of black yoga teachers. And it has crossed my mind, for a variety of reasons, if sometimes people don't take my class or they don't take my coaching, because I'm black. So that has not been overt, I would say. I think that has been very, very subtle, but it does impact your confidence. Because people, I think I'm an exceptionally good yoga teacher. But sometimes you're giving class at the same time as somebody else, and perhaps they have more students than you, or they've got a greater subscription, and you're like, well, what's going on here? You know what I mean? So it does impact your confidence, but you've got to, in that case, you've got to keep going. That's your own mind, that it doesn't matter what other people tell you. You have to find ways to keep on moving. You got to get your fight song on, because, and when I say a fight song, I have two fight songs. One fight song is Fly by Nicki Minaj, and there's a line in it. She says, I am not fly, I am levitation. And then she goes on to, I come to inspire an entire generation. And then she says, I came to win. And then there's another song that is my fight song, which is by Eminem. And it says, you've got one chance. Do not miss your chance to blow. I'm probably not saying the lines right, but those are my fight songs. So when I'm really, really down, I actually put them on and listen to my fight songs, because you really always got to mind your mind. You have to control your mind, otherwise it's going to sink you. And I also have those two little quotes from those songs on post-it notes right above my desk. So when I decide to be a victim, I really step out of that way. Also, Tony Robbins has a 10-minute rule. My other friend, a friend of mine, makes it a 90-second rule. You get 10 minutes to wallow in your victimhood. Oh, I'm so sorry for myself. Nobody likes me. People think I'm this and I'm that. And then you get to step out of it. So I think part of it is learning to control your mind and understanding that what other people think of you is not your business. What other people think you can do is not your business. The only thing that you have to do is to move forward to your goal. And if this person tells you no, that's one no. You just have to remember to keep going. So I always say, go big or go home. To promote equality as a professional, you know what I think? I think part of being an entrepreneur more and more is understanding that you don't have to be the brightest person in the room. Okay. So when I'm thinking of equality, I'm thinking equality in terms of age, in terms of everything. So I'm going to speak on that. Age is not just gender, it's everything. So you're not the brightest person in the room. So go out and hire the brightest people in the room. And people who are smarter than you are the things that you don't know. All right. And you don't need to know everything in the room because you own the company. So it is your role to vision for the company. And it is your role to manage and organize the people underneath you in order to achieve that vision. So if you don't know something, go out and hire the best people. Those people may be the youngest people. They may not necessarily be people your age or who look like you. Just go out and hire the best. The second thing is to nurture talent. So ensure that you nurture talent and ensure that you teach them everything you know, make them better than you. Because by making them better than you, they're brighter than you teach them everything they know, they're probably going to be better at you than what you do, but they're going to make your company great. And by making and even if they decide they're not going to stay with your company, you have added goodness to the world. So I think definitely those are two ways. And hiring the best means that people may also be very old. Don't be afraid to hire somebody who's 70 or who's 75 or 80. It doesn't matter. So I think hire the best, no matter who they are, no matter where they are in their journey. And I definitely think train them to be the best, whatever, wherever they are, improve them and make them even better, so that your company becomes a vision of what success looks like, of what it means to fulfill your potential as a person. No matter who you are, people can come to you and people can achieve. I would like to say that I would like to say thank you to the boys, because the more that women succeed, and I mean, I believe in the power of girls. I think that girls just rock, man. You know what I mean? Life it flows through us, and into onto the planet. You know what I mean? That's like, wow. So, but one of the things that I've been recognizing is that, and it's becoming less and less. It's becoming more balanced, but definitely I have seen the gamut of it from then until now, that men are our enemies and men are not our enemies. The boys are not our enemies. um the boys are there cheering us on. If we're career oriented, there's somebody cheering us on, helping us out, our fathers, our brothers, our sons. And as we reach for more and more of who we are, the role is changing of who am I as a woman, and who, maybe a spouse or a partner. How do those two things come together now? I think what we're witnessing is a rethinking of how do we interact with each other. But as we come to that position of who we are going to be in relationships with each other, how are we going to respect each other? How are we going to think about each other? We've got to understand that it has to be a position, and of it has to be a position of, I have to be able to fulfill my highest purpose, and boys have to be able to fulfill their highest purpose. And the only way for each of us to do that is to ensure that the other person does it. So by helping them up to fulfill, I think, the birth, the breath of their manhood, um, helps us as well to explore, the depth of our womanhood and our femininity. So I think that is something. And I know people talk about equality between men and women, but I think men and women are just very, very different creatures. We like different things, and however I know people think it's a gender construct, whatever you think malehood or womanhood is, um, we're just very, very different creatures. So I don't know if I want us to be equal. I want us to have equal opportunities to develop. you know um when I want talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and have a good cry, that's for my girls. I go out and I have tea with my girls. But a lot of my male friends, they're just like so easy and light. And my girlfriends are funny too, but there's a lightness about my male friends that's different. They're less emotional. And if I have a problem with some of my male besties, they just kind of cut to the chase real fast. And I like that. They just kind of break it down to exactly what's happening, and sometimes that's what I need. So for me, I just want us to think about that as we celebrate. I don't think you can celebrate one without the other. I think they have to be celebrated together, and that's not to take the light out of women, but to understand that even as we stand on the stage with the spotlight shining on us, that men are in the audience cheering us because this is our time. And when it is their time, they will stand in the spotlight and we will stand in the audience and we will cheer and we will support.